Hello once again, senior high school students. Here are now the details about the Marcos administration and the fourth Philippine Republic. Ferdinand Emmanuel Edralin Marcos Sr., the 10th President of the Republic of the Philippines. He was in office from December 13, 1965 up to February 25, 1986. In the early years of his term, he faced with the challenge of corruption in the government, reorganized the armed forces, the Philippine Constabulary, and the Bureau of Internal Revenue. In an attempt to solve the problem of technical smuggling, the Bureau of Customs was also reorganized. The administration, with the goal to strengthen the local economy, devised construction programs and irrigation projects. The promotion of Philippine heritage, culture, and arts was achieved through the establishment of the Cultural Center of the Philippines in 1969. Under the Marcos administration, the country hosted the Manila Summit in 1966. The conference aimed to resolve the Vietnam War and sought the restoration of peace and the promotion of economic stability and development throughout the Asia-Pacific region. Among the laws approved by President Marcos were Republic Act No. 5186 or the Investment Incentives Act, Republic Act No. 4864 or the Police Act of 1966, and Republic Act No. 5173 which established the Philippine Coast Guard. President Marcos won his re-election bid in the 1969 presidential elections against Liberal Party's Sergio Osmeña Jr. President Marcos gained 5,017,343 votes, or 61.47% of the electorate, to become only the second Philippine president in history to win re-election and the first to do so in the Third Republic. But controversies followed. The Liberal Party's campaign rally was held to proclaim the candidacies of 8 senatorial beds as well as the candidate for the mayoralty race in Manila. As a crowd of about 4,000 gathered to hear his speeches, 200 grenades were reportedly tossed on stage. Among those killed instantly were a 5-year-old child and the Manila Times photographer Ben Rojas. Almost everyone on stage was injured, including former Senator Roberto Salonga, former Senator Eddie Ilarde, former Senator Eva Estrada Calong, Liberal Party President Gerardo Rojas, Sergio Osmeña Jr., son of former President of the Commonwealth of the Philippines, Sergio Osmeña Sr., Attorney Martin B. Isidro, Councilor, the Vice Mayor and Congressman for the City of Manila, and Ramon Bagatsing, the party's mayoral candidate for the City of Manila. Look at the pictures. The sequence showed the events that took place during the campaign rally at Plaza Miranda. 1081 or 1081, citing and intensifying communist insurgency, a series of bombings, and the controversial assassination attempt on the then Defense Minister Juan Ponce Enrile. President Marcos enacted a proclamation which enabled him to rule by military power. He initially signed the proclamation on the 17th of September 1972, but it was post-dated to the 21st of September because of his superstitions and numerological beliefs that were related to the number 7. Marcos formally announced the proclamation in a live television and radio broadcast from Malacanang Palace a further 2 days later in the evening of the 23rd of September 1972. The assassination of Ninoy Aquino Jr. The assassination of Benigno Aquino Jr., former Philippine senator, took place on Sunday, August 21, 1983, at Manila International Airport. Aquino, also a longtime political opponent of President Marcos, had just landed in his home country after a 3-year self-imposed exile in the United States when he was shot in the head while being escorted from an aircraft to a vehicle that was waiting to transport him to prison. Also killed was Orlando Galman, who was later implicated in Aquila's murder. The Agrava Commission. On October 14, 1983, President Marcos issued Presidential Decree Number 1886, creating an independent board of inquiry called the Agrava Commission or Agrava Board. The board was composed of former Court of Appeals Justice Corazon J. Agrava as chairwoman, with lawyer Luciano Isalazar, businessman Dante G. Santos, labor leader Ernesto F. Herrera, and educator Amado C. Diesel. The Agrava Fact-Finding Board convened on November 3, 1983. Before it could start its work, President Marcos accused the communists of the killing of the Senator Aquino. The decision to eliminate the former senator, Marcos claimed, was made by none other than the General Secretary of the Philippine Communist Party, Rodolfo Salas. He was referring to his earlier claim that Aquino had befriended and subsequently betrayed his communist comrades. The 1986 is not elected. After being bailed by an American journalist, President Ferdinand E. Marcos declared the snap election during an interview in the American Broadcasting Company Political Affairs program. This Week with David Brinkley in November 1985. On December 3, the Batasang Pambansa passed a law setting the date of the election on the 7th of February 1986. And on the 4th of February, Marcos declared 6th and 7th of February was nationwide non-working special public holidays to give all registered voters fullest opportunity to exercise their right of suffrage. The Comelec 35. On the February 9 of 1986, 35 tabulators, computer workers, officially composed of 30 women and 5 manning the Comelec's with computer terminals, walked out of the PICC plenary hall in protest of what they said was the cheating they were being made party to Alex Baluyo, referring to the tabulation results of the 1986 Philippine presidential snap election. EDSA People Power. February 25, 1986 marked a significant national event that has been engraved in the hearts and minds of every Filipino. This part of Philippine history gives us a strong sense of pride, especially that other nations have attempted to emulate what we have shown the world of the true power of democracy. The true empowerment of democracy was exhibited in EDSA by its successful efforts to oust a tyrant by a demonstration without tolerance for violence and bloodshed. Prayers and rosaries strengthened by faith were the only weapons that the Filipinos used to recover their freedom from Marcos' iron hands. The Epifanio de los Santos Avenue, or known as EDSA, stretches 54 kilometers, where the peaceful demonstration was held on that fateful day. It was a day that gathered all Filipinos in unity with courage and faith to prevail democracy in the country. It was the power of the people who assembled in EDSA that restored the democratic Philippines, ending the oppressive Marcos regime. Hence, it came to be known also as the EDSA People Powers Revolution. The Reform the Armed Forces Movement, or RAM. RAM was founded by a group of junior military officers who were disgruntled by the patronage politics and corruption in the armed forces of the Philippines in 1980. The RAM officers, most of whom were graduates of the Philippine Military Academy classes of 1971, 1972, and 1978, developed their careers during the martial law years September 21st of 1972 to January 17th of 1971. Rome was placed under the leadership of the Ministry of National Defense, Security, and Intelligence Force, then commanded by the then Army Colonel Gringo Honasan, who was also then the Chief Security Officer of then Defense Minister Juan Ponce Enrile, who gave the blessing in forming the organization because Enrile too also wants reforms in the military. Marcos escapes to Hawaii. In 1986, Marcos defrauded the electorate in a presidential election, declaring himself the victor over Corazon Aquino, the wife of an assassinated rival. Aquino also declared herself the rightful winner, and the public rallied behind her. Deserted by his former supporters, Marcos and his wife Imelda fled to Hawaii in exile, where they faced investigation on embezzlement charges. The death of Marcos. In his dying days, Marcos was visited by Vice President Salvador Laurel. During the meeting with Salvador Laurel, Marcos offered 90% of his possessions back to the Filipino people in exchange for being buried back in the Philippines beside his mother, an offer also disclosed to Enrique Isabel. However, Marcos' offer was rebuffed by the Aquino government. Marcos died in Honolulu on the morning of September 28, 1989, of kidney, heart, and lung ailments. Marcos was interred in a private mausoleum at Diodane Temple on the island of Ohio, where his remains were visited daily by the Marcos family, political allies, and friends. A hero's burial at the libingan ng mga bayani. Almost 30 years after his death, Philippine dictator Ferdinand Marcos is getting a hero's burial. In a November 8 ruling, the Supreme Court supported President Rodrigo Duterte's resolve to honor the country's original strongman leader by giving him a spot in the libingan ng mga bayani, or the Cemetery of the Heroes in Manila. Duterte's administration confirmed that the state burial will be scheduled before the end of the year. There are five main reasons for President Marcos' remains to be buried in the libingan ng mga bayani. First, there was no grave abuse of discretion on the part of the President Rodrigo Duterte in ordering the burial of Marcos because it was done in the exercise of his mandate. There is also no law that prohibits the burial of Marcos' remains. Second, President Duterte has the power to reserve for public use and for specific public purposes any of the lands under public domain. The third, Marcos remains under regulations of the Armed Forces of the Philippines can be inferred at libingan ng mga bayani because he was a former president, commander-in-chief, soldier, Medal of Valor awardee, and legislator. Fourth, the Supreme Court disagreed Marcos was dishonorably discharged, saying the disqualification only pertains to the military. Fifth, Marcos cannot be disqualified from burial at libingan ng mga bayani because he was not convicted of crimes involving moral turpitude. Take a look at the Supreme Court justices vote on Marcos' burial. Nine votes in favor, and five against, and one inhibits. Next, the Fifth Philippine Republic. Stay safe, everyone.